Hi everyone, welcome to our latest video. Really pleased to be able to show you today this absolutely beautiful pearl white Ducati 1198. What an absolutely stunning machine from virtually every angle. So basically the 1198 was the last of the pre-Panigale Ducatis. Obviously superseded the 1098 that first came out in 2007, and as you'll see, this is a 2010 template, and she's covered just 8,700 miles from new. Absolutely gorgeous machine, and within that 8,700 miles she's actually had 6 services. The details are in the text of the advert, but the first 3 were at Ducati main dealers, and the subsequent 3 were courtesy of our good friends at MotoV Colchester, Ducati independent specialists, and very good ones at that, I have to say. And as recently as April 2018, so literally just 5 or 6 weeks ago, she had a most recent service and cam belts. So those of you that are aware of your service intervals and belt changes will know that that's something else to, or not something to consider for the next 2 years, should I say. And I think you'd agree it looks absolutely stunning with the pearl white paintwork glistening in the sun. So she's largely a standard bike. We're fitted with a Datatool S4 alarm, which obviously will help most people's insurance and keep your pride and joy in your possession rather than somebody else's. We've got a couple of additions. We've got a black, slightly bubbled front screen, and you'll also see, I'll just take you around the left hand side of the bike, try and ignore the phone ringing while I'm doing the video, and you can see that we've got a mini carbon rear hugger. But other than that, she's a standard bike, as I say, with a 6 service history and just under 9,000 miles. Beautiful bike. So basically, what have we got on an 1198? Well, to start with, we've got fully adjustable shower upside down forks, shower, whichever way you want to pronounce it, with these Brembo monoblock brake calipers. Now this particular bike, for no other reason than the previous owner's desires, is fitted with the Brembo Serie Oro, or series, basically it's the Oro series Brembo brake discs. And the eagle-eyed of you will notice that these are noticeable because they've got 12 bobbins, and every other bobbin is actually filled in for the traction control models. Now this is a standard 1198, so this model doesn't have traction control. You'll only find that on the 1198S, which also has the Öhlins suspension. It's a little bit more expensive again, and quite frankly, the Showa stuff, you know, the fully adjustable forks and this Showa rear shock are going to be more than good enough for 95% of riders, particularly on the road. Arguably the Öhlins gives you the sort of, you know, the showy off look, the bling and the bragging rights down the pub, but as I say, the majority of riders aren't going to notice the difference. And you'll see we've also got a pillion cover there as well. I do have the pillion seat to go with it, but standard exhausts, and pretty much, I'd say, everything standard heat shields, standard clutch cover, but a good opportunity to do some close-ups. You see we've got a plastic fuel tank on the big Dukes. Now obviously helps keep the keeps the weight down a bit. And again, Do some close-ups on the left-hand side. Excuse me. You'll see that for an 8-year-old bike, that's probably about as good as it gets. I mean, if we're being really critical, I mean, actually, what's nice about this bike is there's absolutely no corrosion or paint peeling off the back engine case, which is synonymous with so many Ducatis. So that shows that it's been well cared for. Again, we're being really fussy here, but the spring itself is absolutely fine. Just the first signs of a little bit of corrosion on the inner part of the rear shock there, but certainly nothing that detracts from the overall look of the bike. And some close-ups on that right-hand fairing. Really is lovely, this bike. It wouldn't take a lot for me to keep it. And basically she's powered by, again, a typical Ducati liquid cooled V-twin, depending on which review you refer to, but somewhere in the region of 170 brake horsepower. But I think over and above the brake horsepower, it's the torque. I think MCN quote 97 pound-foot of torque, which is, you know, it's real arm-wrenching stuff. And you know, I know some pretty quick guys, but I'm not sure I know anyone that could exploit the full potential of an 1198 on the road, or indeed the track. Absolutely stonking sort of levels of mid-range, and arguably not as easy to ride fast on the road as maybe a Japanese bike, but to the point where I'd say that actually somebody that can ride one of these really well, if you put them on a Japanese bike, I think they'd probably blitz everyone, because these are a little bit more difficult to tame. But once you do, the rewards are absolutely fantastic. Okay, so let's take to the instrument panel. As you can see, we've got this lovely machined top yoke here, absolutely unmarked. And we'll turn the ignition on, you'll hear the alarm start to beep. We'll turn that off. See the instrument panel do its self-check. And not sure if you can see in the glare of the sun actually, but mileage is 8720. So we'll briefly start her up for you, so just excuse the camera just for a second. There you go. That's what a standard 1198 sounds like. They're not quite as aggressive and barky as the turn the door system, but nonetheless still quickly enough for the road. And that classic drive touchdown, stick and chain. Give the throttle a very quick flip. Must admit, I really like the dash on the 1098s and the 1198s. Very sort of Moto GP-esque, but of course that's what they're all going to now, LCD displays. In fact, obviously a lot of them now are going to full colour, but you know, arguably a little bit ahead of its time when this came out in 2010, and obviously the 1098 preceding it. Tyre wise, we're currently wearing Pirelli Diablo Supercorsas, and we've recently just fitted a rear. Now you will just notice the very faintest of track day blemish on the edges, but we can offer complete assurances that this tyre was not on this bike. It did require a rear tyre, and it just so happens that we had a Supercorsa that had done less than 500 miles. It just happened to have had a little bumble around Brands Hatch one evening, and that's borne out from the fact that you can see there's absolutely no sort of track day blemishing on the front tyre. But we have actually got the front tyre that was part of the pair, which we're happy to throw in with the bike. So once this front Supercorsa has passed its sell-by date, which will be some time because it's a fairly recent tyre, we've actually got a Supercorsa spare for you to put on the front. So so there you go. Just to summarise, she's a Ducati 1198 2010 on a template, full service history with 6 stamps in the book, 3 main dealer and 3 independent. Belts were done in April 2018. She's covered 8,700 miles, and this bike's available at 8195. I hope you enjoyed the video.